Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at Gothitelle in the Open Great League. I actually wanted to take a look at their marker, but I was out for 2 hours, did like over 10,000 steps already, and I couldn't find a single fire grant, like not even their marker. Like I think you have like a 1 in 3 chance of getting the Darrow marker from this grant. I didn't even find a single fire grant, and so maybe later I'm gonna go outside after this video again and try to hunt some more shadow Pokemon down. Got some very decent Pidgeots already, but yeah, I don't know. Like the event itself is not as crazy anyway as the other shadow events because not really a lot of Pokemon got added. But still, it's a lot of fun. So let's take a look at Gothitelle here. Gothitelle is a very interesting Pokemon. Why is that so? Because the current meta has quite a lot of Pokemon where Gothitelle is kinda good against. Of course, mainly something like Annihilape or something like, I don't know, the Poliwrath. And let me tell you, Gothitelle really surprised me and was actually way better than I expected. And this Pokemon is actually usable. And we can see it here already in the first battle. Look at the damage output against the Annihilape. Honestly, like, it is absolutely wild. We just do basically damage like charge moves just with our fast moves, and we can just farm them down and the opponent decides to forfeit. And this is something that you can see quite often, that Gothitelle actually has quite a decent benefit of having confusion damage, which is stab, and which is going to be shadow boosted as well. Like the damage output against most Pokemon here is going to be really great because there are currently not a lot of steel types around. Like there's like the odd Skarmory or like, I don't know, like sometimes Bastion, which is a little bit tricky. But there are basically no dark types, which is kind of funny because they're currently battling a dark type around here as well. And so here, try to catch a return. Oh, look at this, definitely worked out so perfectly here, exactly what I wanted. Doesn't really matter, we can still realign by just letting this move go through. But yeah, basically Gothitelle is going to have nearly all the time neutral matchups. If you take a look at the current meta, what do you already see? Whiscash a lot of times. You're going to see, of course, the fighting type Pokemon where you're going to be good against. You see Gligar a lot of times. And no matter what Pokemon you have, you're gonna do a ton of damage with your fast move. And this is actually really great. So I think like Pokemon like Hypno most likely have a lot of potential in the current meta, just because there's next to nothing that really resists Psychic typing right now, which is kinda wild. So definitely something that maybe I would not recommend you Gothitelle. By the way, if I swapped into my Vigoroth here against the Gligar instead of my Gothitelle, I would have been able to win this game here for sure. Now they have the worst possible Pokemon in the back, so we most likely just gonna get Shadow Balled here, but it is what it is. But yeah, it is what it is here, definitely. I would have been able to win this game if I played it differently, but I of course didn't know what they had in the back at this point, so I cannot really complain. But Gothitelle definitely has a lot of play in the current meta. Moving on, we're going to have here Mantine. One cool thing about Gothitelle as well is that we have the coverage of Rock Slide. It would be really cool if there was a different coverage move other than Future Sight as well, because I feel like Future Sight is cool as a nuke move. It will be coming in clutch in one battle as well, so definitely stay tuned for that as well. Great play by the Pawn here, by the way, catching the move onto the Gligar, but not before I can reach another charge move against them as well and force most likely a shield. But definitely Future Sight as a nuke move is really good. Otherwise, it only learns Psychic, I think, as a next charge move, which is currently really bad to go for, so don't go for Psychic at all. But here, we will see already that we can just go for the full farm down. I just decided to use 2 shields. It was 2 times Aerial Ace. We would have been able to swipe one of them for sure. But look at this. Mantine comes in. They have to deal with the Rock Slide here. They're forced to use a shield, and they're still going to take some damage with my fast move as well. And I think we kind of put them into a range where foul play might be even enough. But look at this, we can still even reach another Rock Slide because we survived one Ice Beam. And Gothitelle actually is doing quite a decent job here. In comes now our Sableye, and I tried to catch the move onto my Vigoroth, but they didn't decide to go for it straight away. But it doesn't matter because thanks to the counter, we just barely put them into range where the resisted foul play is enough to knock them out. And so they only have the Mantine in the back. I still have my foul play, I can reach this one, and this is going to be it for this game. Knocking out the Mantine, and so we can move on to the next opponent. Next one coming through, we're going to have a Deoxys in the lead. A really bad one for us. Here I actually decided to swap out into the Gothitelle. It is pretty rare to see a counter for this Pokemon as said prior already, and so the opponent actually stays in here as well, which is kind of fun. We can go for a Rock Slide, do a ton of damage, and we would be able to 2-shot them here as well. But this game, I kind of screwed up. I kind of could look for an excuse for this one as well, but I don't really want to do this right now, so like I'm just going to say what it is. I thought that this confusion would get me to the Rock Slide, and so I decided to use a shield here, trying to force a shield from the opponent. Turns out we are like, I don't know, I actually don't know how much we were away. I think like 2 or something energy away of getting to the rock set. So for the future, I definitely know this. But using the shield there was very, very silly, because now we're going to be in a scenario where we're a shield down, which we did not need to be. And we're going to see here they're going to have in the back the Gliga. We would have been able to easily win this game. Like, there was no doubt that we would have been able to win this game if I just had my extra shield that I left onto my Gothitelle. So this is my fault, not the team's fault. So I would have definitely been able to win this game for sure. As you're gonna see here as well, if I just had 2 shields, I could have just shielded twice, would have been able to go up to basically 3 body slams total, and I would have been able to just go ahead and go for a double body slam against the Jonkus. Fairly certain I would have been able to win this game, but I didn't, and so this is going to be, sadly, a loss. Moving on to the next opponent, a great lead for us. Honestly, so many LilyNiRiain leads. I love to see this, as our Vigoroth in the lead is kinda great. This team, by the way, is very similar to the team that I had in my top team video as well, which I went 10-0 with before, like basically the last time Great League was available, where I didn't make a video about yet, but maybe I will do in the future. Basically, you had otherwise just the Giratina Origin instead of the Gothitelle in the back, and it still was working out pretty well. I can still highly recommend you this team. This team was amazing, even with Gothitelle, which of course is a spicy Pokemon to go for. The combination of the elite of Vigoroth and the Saystop of Sableye right now, plus something that's really weak against LilyNiRiain in the back that is really good against the meta, like for example Giratina, like for example Gothitelle. It is just a really great team to run, so would really recommend you to try this one out as well. Give it a try. Very good team. But yeah, anyways, here we're gonna see Annihilape in the back, and we kinda let this move go through. It's going to be a super effective Night Slash, but I kinda don't want to risk the potential boost, and they actually get the boost, but they cannot get to another charge move, because we just farm them down. Even though they got the boost there, it did not matter. We were still able to knock them out without even using a charge move at all, which is just mad. And now it's going to be a LilyNiRiain against a Vigoroth. We still have a shield. I just decided to use a shield here as well, which is going to be okay for us. Body Slam coming through, going to be able to get them low, and hopefully they just decide to let this game go down. Yeah, they're just going to... Never mind, they're still trying their best here to go for a charge move. That's totally fine for them, but it doesn't really matter, as we can easily win this game. Moving on to the next game, we're going to have a great lead here of the Alolan Sandslash in the lead. We're going to see the swap into the Whiscash, and so we can go for a little bit of damage here just to weaken them a little bit, and we decide to go into our Sableye, which is, in my opinion, a little bit of a safer play. I thought of going into Gothitelle here as well, but you're just gonna get to the charge moves a little bit easier onto the Sableye. Rock Slide would definitely be enough already after some confusion damage, so I wasn't worried about this. But just here, you're going to have a little bit more pressure. But also, the opponent has quite some pressure as well. And so, they can go for a charge move here. It's going to be the Mud Bomb. Not really ideal for me, and they can reach another one. And now I just have to hope that I can fully farm them down, which we can see we're going to not be able to do because they swap out in time. They're going to swap into what it was. It was their Mantine, which is not really ideal, but we can just go into our Gothitelle, do a ton of damage here with Confusion already, and force them to go ahead and go for some charge moves here. Aerial Ace, double Aerial Ace is maybe not even enough. We have to see here. And you see already, by the way, this was the first battle that I played, which you see by me having the fast move of Charm still, which I was not expecting, which was not ideal in this scenario at all, but was not allowing us to get as much energy, which is really bad. So definitely this was the first battle that I was doing. I still had Charm because I forgot to change the fast move on this, which at least still did some damage here, but we're gonna still have a little bit of a trickier game. We have to catch the move, and literally perfect timing here. The opponent can just waste their energy on my Sableye, and the Ice Punch is coming through, doing basically nothing for them, because we can just go for the full farm down, go for one more counter, go for a double body slam, and knock them all out. Triple kill for the Vigoroth here, which is amazing, and we even had the wrong moveset on our Gothitelle, which is kind of funny there. Next opponent, we're gonna see here that the opponent is going to have a Gliga in the lead. A Gliga in the lead is going to be not ideal, so we decide to swap out into our Sableye, see what they want to go into. We can reach the foul play in time, which is actually really important, because this allows us to deny one fast move from the opponent. So now we can, as you can see here, sneak in the Shadow Claw. You always lose one fast move when you swap out, and if you get to your own charge move before the opponent, you have like the same duration of your own fast moves here, like 2 turn versus 2 turn. You're going to be able to kind of get rid of the disadvantage that you had prior. Here, we're going to still not be in a decent spot because the opponent was able to fully farm me down with a Lanturn, great play by them. They most likely knew this matchup a little bit more as well and knew that they had to play it like this in order to get this result, but very well played there. Because now we're going to be in a little bit of a bad spot. We can still knock them out at least. They're going to swap into the Gligar and I can try to go for the full farm down. And we will be able to just let this move go through. Hopefully they don't have a fighter in the back. They do not. They have a Whiscash in the back. And so it's going to be a very close one most likely. We can reach the rock side, going to be able to get a shield from the opponent. And they decide to go for their own charge move now as well, which is going to be great. So they can't farm you all the way down. I still have some energy here on the Vigoroth. Who can win this game? It's going to be a very close one, but there's one kind of, I don't know, downside to this all, because the opponent is going to go for the bait here, which is a smart play, I guess. Doesn't really matter, but I kind of was more fearing the debuff or Scald. But the opponent is literally perfectly not in range for a Body Slam plus counter. And so they can go for a charge move here, and now it's a race. Can we counter them down, or can we even get to the Body Slam in time before they can go for their Mud Bomb? We cannot. It was literally so close, but we sadly lose this game. And we can move on to the next opponent. Going to be a Gligar again. Not ideal. We can swap out again. We can swap into our Sableye and we're gonna get out the Poliwrath. And as you can see here right now, we would actually be able to reach the return before the opponent gets to a charge move. But we're gonna still go for the bait and they fall for it. And so what we can do is we can let this move go through. It's just going to be the Icy Wind and I can try to reach another return and I will be able to get there. And so we either get 2 shields or 1 shield and switch advantage. I take 2 shields, and like this, we're going to have showtime for the Gothitelle, hopefully. What we can do now is, we can go ahead and use a shield on the Scald. We don't get the debuff as well, and so we can farm them down in 2 confusions. 2 confusions to knock out 50% of the opponent's health, as they're going to have the Jellicent in their bag. In comes the Gligar again. Body Slam coming through. We need 2 Body Slams most likely to knock them out. Let's find out here. Yes, exactly, we need 2, plus a little bit of counter damage. But I can keep the shield. The shield is going to be very useful for our Gothitelle, and so we can reach the Body Slam in time. They have some energy still stored on the Jellicent, but they still have to go for a Surf here, and hopefully we can even reach another charge move. I'm not too sure if a Future Sight is going to be enough from this range, but we have to see here. Surf is coming through. Sadly, perfectly getting me into range where they can farm me down. We have now the Future Sight available, but I kind of want to get a little bit more confusion damage in first, and this was a mistake. They can still reach a charge move, and so Gothitelle goes down, or not. 1 HP and a Future Sight here. Going to be able to knock them out, and we can move on to the final battle of today. Fairly neutral lead here. Fairly neutral lead, it's going to be the Ninetales against the Vigoroth. We can win this in the 0 shields, and I think in the 1 shields, they always win this in the 2 shields, so like they can realign if they really want to, but we can get a shield advantage if they want to realign. So like no matter what they really want to try to do here, I'm kind of fine with it. I'm gonna go ahead and go for the Body Slam, trying to get them a little bit lower, but they decide to use their final shield, and so they just want to align themselves, which is fine. Here, I make a little bit of a mistake. I was looking at the HP, but I wasn't really like remembering it. And so I decided to swap out into my Medicham now, which is fine. I could have decided to try to stay in there and just try to go for a Future Sight and just knock them out. Would have worked out as well, but here we just completely walling the opponent. And as you're gonna see, Psychic coming through, going to be double resisted. They of course buff their own attack, and we can go up to 100 energy, but they got me kinda low here, which is kinda sad. But as you can see, I just gonna try to go for the return, expecting the Ninetales to come back in, not really looking at anything. And they go into the Bastion, and so all the energy is wasted. I am not too sure if this really matters at the end of the day. It might have mattered. It might have mattered because if I got the damage of the foul play, I think 2 foul plays does around like 50% health of the opponent's Bastion. And as you're gonna see here, Future Sight is coming through, and I would have still had like 1 foul play stored anyway. It might have been enough to knock them out with the 2 foul plays there, but it is what it is. We sadly lose a final battle. Hope you still enjoyed this. Hope I can still get some more Shadow content out later on. See you then, and hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.